This day that God has given me, I'm not gonna worry.
Hello guys, welcome back again to the Beloved channel. I'm here, your host, James Kiiri, and today we are continuing with our series, the Bible stories that we really enjoy. And with me, I have my co-host, my very beautiful wife, and babe, say some.
Hello everybody, welcome again to the Beloved channel, and my name is Loise Kiiri.
Yes, her name is Loise Kiiri, and I am Kiiri, so she has her second name is me. Yes, and so we are continuing with the Bible stories. We got a lot from our hearts telling us that we need to make this a series. And so that's why we decided, yeah, let's make it a series about interesting and just overall Bible stories that we really enjoy.
Yeah.
And today, my wife is going to be kicking us off. Last time it was me, so today is ladies first. Honey,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Well, thank you, honey. And I actually just want to say that we really enjoyed sharing the Bible stories that we find to be amazing, because Bible is very interesting. And as we said last time, the Bible is full of stories, and most of them are super amazing. And if you take time to just read the Bible, you'll be amazed by all these stories. And to start off, my story actually is about Abraham, the story that I find to be amazing. It's not like a fascinating story as the ones that we shared last time, but what really catches me the most about this story is the fact that the intimate relationship that Abraham had with God, and it makes me yearn to have such a relationship with God. And I'll just read verse 19 and 23. So Genesis 18, verse 19 and 23. And before I actually read it, let me just give you some context in regards to the story. So this is the part where God wanted to disclose to Abraham that he was going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. And he decided, before I go, let me just tell Abraham what I'm about to do. And this is what he said. I'll start from verse 16 and I'll read all the way to 23, and I'll try to read it fast. Then the men rose from there and looked towards Sodom, and Abraham went with them to send them on the way. The Lord said, "Shall I hide from Abraham what I'm doing? Since Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. For I have known him, in order that he may command his children and his household after him, that they keep the way of the Lord, so to do righteousness and justice, that the Lord may bring to Abraham what he has spoken to him." And the Lord said, "Because the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grave, I will go down and see whether they have done altogether according to the outcry against it that has come to me. And if not, I will know." Then the men turned away from there and went towards Sodom, but Abraham still stood before the Lord. And Abraham came near and said, "Would you also destroy the righteous with the wicked?" I don't want to read the rest of it, but when you get a chance, just read the whole story. It's Genesis 18. And I think the two parts that really amaze me the most. So verse 19, where God said, "For I know him, in order that he may command his children and his household after him." So God really knew the heart of Abraham. And then verse 23, it says, "And Abraham came near and said." He was already standing with the Lord, but how did he come near to the Lord? By walking. But how do you know where God is for you to walk towards towards him? But it says, "And Abraham came near and said, Would you also destroy the righteous with the wicked?" What I get from this story is, first of all, God said, "Shall I hide this from Abraham? For I know Abraham, blah, 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 blah," right? So he knew Abraham's heart. Of course, God knows everybody, right? But he also knows each one of us intimately. and he knows what each person will do, what they can do and what they cannot do, right? And then what amazes me the most is Abraham drew near unto the Lord. And then now he started asking God, will you destroy, suppose there are 40 people who are righteous, will you still...
That conversation of trying to convince God
Yes,
not to
yes.
destroy everyone.
And you know what I was thinking? It's like, you see how I know you as my husband. I don't come to you while begging or crying, just trying to convince you why we should do a certain thing, right? But if somebody else was to come to my husband and ask for a favor, the way they would approach him, it would be different. The way they would ask for something, it would be completely different, right? So I felt like the relationship that Abraham had with God, it was such a wonderful relationship where Abraham knew that he didn't have to start crying and begging, but he knew God so well, to the point that he just had a conversation with him. He was like, God, if you find 40 people, will you still destroy the city? If you find 30 people, if you find 10 people, you know, he knew God's heart and he knew how to just communicate with him. What else, if that was me, if I was in that position, Abraham was in, I would probably, as soon as God tells me, hey, I'm going to Sodom and Gomorrah to destroy it, I'll be on my knees crying, God have
Begging.
mercy on us, God have
Please.
mercy on your people, you know. But you see, he had such a wonderful relationship with God that he didn't have to do all that. Even though he did try to change God's heart, you know, by asking God, if you find 10 people, will you still destroy Sodom and Gomorrah? But unfortunately, there were not even 10 righteous people in Sodom and Gomorrah for the Lord to spare the cities. So I have really, really yearned to have that intimate relationship with God. And I always tell God, God, I don't want to be religious. I don't want to just show people that I love you, because at the end of the day, they don't see me behind the closed doors, but you do. You know everything about me, and I don't want to just know you as a God. Like, I don't want to just hear about you, but I want to have an intimate, I want to walk with you to the point that I know your heart, I can hear you clearly. Like, I don't have to run to someone else for me to hear what you're saying to me, because you have already ministered to my heart and I know your voice. You know, let me just add one more Bible verse. I think it's John, I can just open it up, just 1 second. It's in John 10:27. It says, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them and they follow me. I want to know my shepherd's voice. I want to know his voice, so that I don't doubt him. I don't doubt, is that God who is speaking to me? Or I'm not in a position where I'm just wondering, Lord, what should I do? And mind you, I can't even hear, I don't even know his voice, and I don't know what he's speaking to me. So I want to learn his voice. I want to walk with him intimately. I want to have a relationship with him. Just as Abraham had that relationship with him. I know I've spoken too much, but
That's good. You explain it so we understand.
I hope you're getting my point.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
And I know it's not like a story that people have not heard about it, but the only thing that...
you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know, I think with the Bible there's always something you learn.
Yeah.
And you might think because you know it, somebody else knows it, but I hear people talk, you know, about some stories in the Bible. I'm like, what? Is that King James? That has to be the new international, because that was not in. That has to be the new international version. It wasn't in King James. So that's good.
Yeah.
Very good, honey. Thank you. Thank you.
So what about you? Tell us one of the stories that really amazes you in the Bible.
Yes. So I'm going to speak about David again due to public demand. People love the story of David. People love it. They think about it. Yeah, and by people I mean me. Yeah, so I really enjoy the story of David. And I think the reason why I relate to it so much is because David wasn't supernatural or like have some fantastic powers. He was just a regular man. And we can see his journey from when he was a shepherd to how he built his life, you know, with God on his side, with all the people, all the friends he made, all the people he encouraged, and all the people he built up, the nation he led. And even to today, you know, like people from Israel, they still speak of King David. And there's been, I'm sure it's been thousands of kings, but he stood out. And so today I'm going to speak about David again. And pass me my digital Bible, please. My digital Bible. So I'll give you some context as well, like my wife said. And so this story is now when David was getting to the end of his kingship, and he was about, I don't remember the age, but at this point he's calling his son and he's telling him, hey, God has ordained you to build the temple for him. So now he's giving him direction, he's giving him advice because he has experience. And that's the context. Okay, so it's in 1 Chronicles 22:6 to 19, but I won't read all that. I'll just take bits and pieces and I will link it up together to make a whole story. All right, so the beginning at 6, it says, David sent someone to fetch his son, Solomon. He told him that he must build a temple for the Lord, Israel's God. And then now I'm going to skip. All right, so... so that's how you skip. All right. So he told him, look, this is now 14. From 1, I skipped up to 14.
Can you be serious?
Look, I have been careful to prepare the things that you will need to build the Lord's temple. I have got 4,000 tons of gold, 4,000 tons of gold, and 40,000 tons of silver. I have more bronze and iron than anyone can weigh. They would have to make new machines to weigh them. It was so much, not even a man could weigh, and they didn't have the machine that we have now to weigh. So I have plenty of wood and stone. You will need to get even more than this. So he tells him, like, I have all this, but you'll need to get more than this. You have many workers with special skills. Some know how to cut stone, others know how to build with stones or wood. Then now I'm skipping to 17. Then David sent messages to all the leaders in Israel. He commanded them to help his son Solomon. Okay. So now you see that David has all this gold already set. His son Solomon is still a young boy at this point. He's probably a teenager. Like, he's very young. So he has already amassed 40 tons of silver, 4,000 tons of gold, more wood and iron that can be weighed. And all this is in preparation for what his son is going to build. Like, it's not even for him. It's for his son. And so that really, really touched me. And it really speaks to me about what kind of a man he is and where he was in his mind. And so I'm a father and I have children. And when I think about this, it just reminds me of where the Bible speaks about parents leaving an inheritance for your children. And it just touches my heart to think that he had already done all this for the next generation. He's not even thinking about himself. He's thinking about his next generation, his son. And when I think about it, like how it relates to me, because I try to bring the Bible to how it relates to my life, I think of leaving something for my children. And not necessarily wealth, but you know, most of the things we remember is the lessons we are taught by our parents.
Oh, that's a good one.
right? Oh, thank you.
Mm.
You know, they say that who we are as people right now is a collection, is all influenced by the people who are in our lives, and mostly our parents, because we stay with our parents the longest, up to 18, 24. And even as we get older, we still call them and ask them for advice. So your parents really shape us. And so, not even thinking about wealth, like now I bring it to my life, like a lot of things that I know, a lot of my behaviors, a lot of my beliefs are because of what my parents put in me. Like I come from a Christian family. My parents were preachers, and they put the word of God in us. And even when we got to a point in our lives when, we had a choice to go this way, we always came back to what our parents put in us. And so I like that very much, because it just tells me, and it just lets me know that I have a very important role as a parent to play in the life of my children, because who they grow up to be is influenced a lot by me as the parent. So I have to continually feed them and teach them in the ways of the Lord, and just help them to grow and be better as they continue progressing in their lives. And it really, really touches me. There's another part, I won't go reading it, but you see where he tells the leaders, help him. So it's not even just him, he's even preparing a group of people and telling
Who will
them,
help him.
when he comes to age, like as you live further in the story, he even appoints people who are going to be the people who are going to build. You see, he says, I have workers, but you will need more skilled workers. He appoints people who are going to help him.
Yeah.
He appoints leaders. And then another part of the story, he gives his own money as the king. He puts up his wealth and says, I'm giving all this wealth towards the building of the temple. Does anyone else want to come and join? And the Bible says that all the officials and other leaders, they started giving money and giving their wealth. They're like, I'm giving 20,000 tons of gold. Everyone started giving towards that project. And so that is powerful, because it's not just that we put these things in our children, but we put them in positions where they will have people to support them in the future. You're smiling.
No, it's just that I'm just having revelation as you're speaking.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Actually, before I forget, two things I got from that story. Of course, I've read that story before, but as you were explaining, I was just getting more revelation. When he put in the gold himself, and he asked other people, do you guys want to join in and give towards the building of the temple? He demonstrated himself by giving. So it's not like he asked everybody, hey, do you all want to give towards building the temple? What else? He sat back and not gave anything, but he had to demonstrate it. He had to set up an example.
He led by example.
And he gave first, and everybody saw him give, and that's the reason why. That's what motivated them to give, right?
Yes.
So I was just thinking nowadays,
that's powerful.
how I relate that. Nowadays, a lot of ministers, they do ask to give, right? They do ask, we give for the kingdom of God. But then we don't see them first giving, so that we can also be motivated to give. Not to say don't give because you're not seeing a minister give, but I'm just saying they don't live by example,
Wow. That's true.
The other thing, King David, he really wanted to build the temple for the Lord. But because he couldn't do that, the Lord told him, it's not you. You have too much blood on your hands. It's not you who will build it. It's your son. He tried to do whatever he could do in his power to help build that, because he couldn't do it. Because
it's like he was laying a foundation for him.
He was laying a foundation, making sure that when that time comes, the son will not have any excuse, I cannot be able to build because I don't have enough gold. I don't have enough people to build. Like, he made sure, hey, here you go. By the time you start building this temple, you already have enough gold, you already have enough workers, you already have enough materials to put to build this building, you know. And it just shows the desire, that like the strong desire he had to just build that temple for the Lord, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful story. And man, what's the other thing I wanted to say? I'm forgetting. Okay, I've remembered. Yes, and I'm mixing many parts to this story because I might not get a chance to speak about it again, but
This is the last time you're speaking about David. The next one
it'll be something else.
we want somebody else.
So let me
I'm
ask
just
you,
kidding.
what is Solomon known for?
Wisdom.
Wisdom, right? Now let me guys give you something that is gonna amaze you, for those of you who maybe did not know. In this passage, I've read, let me see.
Wisdom and many wives. Many
He told him.
concubines. Alipenda wasichana.
Yes. So in the verse 12 he says, I also pray that the Lord will make you wise so that you can understand things properly. Solomon is known for wisdom. In another part, as this story continues, there's a part that he specifically tells him, ask God for wisdom.
So it was
So
actually
it was David.
It was his dad who told him to
ask
ask
God
God
for
for
wisdom.
wisdom. That's amazing.
Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing.
So when the time came that Solomon, God asked him what he
Yeah.
wanted, he already knew what he wanted because his father had advised him, like, hey,
yeah.
you will need wisdom to do all this.
Yeah.
It's so much. You will
Yeah.
need wisdom. So
Yeah.
ask God. So when God came to ask him, hey, what can I give you? He already knew he wanted wisdom. And so that just goes back to show you that how vital role we play as parents, as leaders, as influencers in other people's life. Because if he hadn't told him about, you know, like ask for wisdom, maybe he would have asked for something else, who knows. But because his father had given him direction, he did that. And also on the flip side, he obeyed his father, he listened to his father, he took his advice.
Say that. Because how many times did we obey our parents? You know?
Yeah.
But he really obeyed his father.
He took his advice. Like everything his father told him to do, he did.
He
Told him ask for wisdom, he asked for wisdom. He told him to honor God, he honored God. You know, he told him do all this. And even to add on that,
I think I know what you're about to say.
yeah, you might be knowing. So the timber they used to build was coming from.
Oh, okay, never mind. I guess that's not.
It's
what
not
you
it.
Yeah.
There was a I'll find, I don't know if it's Babylon, I'll find, but there's a place that was known for cypress wood, like they were known for that. And when it was time to build the temple, he went back to that king and he told him, hey, you told my father that whenever he's ready to build a temple, you're going to supply him with all the wood he needed.
Wow.
And they supplied him with wood.
Wow.
To build the temple. Of course, there was an exchange.
Yeah.
You know, he was constantly sending men over there to help cut the trees and transport them. But even that, the timber was a result of the relationship his father built for him.
Yeah.
So it's not just giving him money, giving advice and telling people to help him. He even built other relationships with other people that when his son was time for him to build, he already had all this, like he had a network of everything he needed. And so as parents, as people who, you know, even for leaders, maybe you lead in a church, or everyone has someone who looks up to you. It might be your children, your friends, your cousins. Even in whatever capacity, we all do have that. So it just speaks about not being selfish and putting yourself on the side and just putting other people first. And when you take it even further to when Christ came, that's exactly what he did. He died for the rest of us.
That's
like
true.
he put himself on the side. Is like, okay, I'm preparing this for you so that you don't have to go through priest anymore. You can go to God directly. You don't have to use the 10 commandments. Like he laid the foundation for all that. And so now we're able to enjoy Christianity and enjoy, the relationship we have with God because of Jesus. And so, yeah, that story is very powerful. And I really like the story of David, and I hope we have all learned something from
Honey,
that.
that story was very powerful.
Thank you.
I think it had a lot of revelation to it. I think I like this one better than the other one that you told from the last video. And if you haven't already watched it, go ahead and watch that
Watch
video.
it. Part 1.
Yeah, part 1. Watch that video. I will link it down here below. But that was very powerful, honey. It was very powerful. It's Jesus.
Jesus. Yes.
Yeah, and thank you again for watching this video. Hopefully this was a blessing to you, and yeah, be blessed, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yes, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you're able to be blessed, and we'll see you on the next one. Keep watching, and God bless you. Hallelujah. Amen. Peace.
Know that I'm someone. No, I'm a child of God. I wanna go to Golly way, close to your love again.